So, welcome again. Now we are on the stanza number 49 of Bodhicharyavatara, chapter number 9. If all the words recorded in the sutras you admit to be the Buddha's perfect speech, why don't you now accept the greater part of Mahayana, with which your sutras are in perfect harmony? Now this is, these and a few other lines is the next to. So these three stanzas, in some translations it's a little bit above there, and in some it's down there, and so it's a little bit different. If all the words recorded in the sutras you admit with the Buddha's perfect speech, the if you means here talking about the Sarvakayana. So all the teachings that is in the Pali Sutra, for instance, if you want to say, are perfect speech of the Buddha. Then why don't you now accept the other part, or the greater part of Mahayana? Because all the sutras are actually in perfect harmony. Now, for instance, in the Pali Sutras or in the Sarvakayana Sutras, Buddha is always referred to as Bodhisattva before he became Buddha. And all the stories that Buddha told about his past lives, like in Jataka stories, he talks about practicing the 6 paramitas and compassion and wisdom and trying to help all the sentient beings. And now in the Mahayana Sutras, actually the Mahayana Sutras are nothing more than the more clear and more elaborate explanation of Bodhisattva's path. In the Pali tradition or in the Sarvakayana Sutras, although Bodhisattva is mentioned, Buddha was a Bodhisattva before he became Buddha, but it didn't very clearly and extensively teach or describe what was the practice of a Bodhisattva, how to become a Bodhisattva, and what are the actual trainings of a Bodhisattva. That's not very clearly expanded. And Mahayana Sutras are actually nothing more than a very clear and detailed explanation of Bodhisattva. So therefore, it's in perfect harmony. There is nothing not in harmony. There's nothing that is not, contradicting. There's nothing contradicting or anything like that. So with which your sutra is in perfect harmony. If due to just a single jarring element, the whole is held to be at fault, why should a single sutra in agreement with your text not vindicate the rest as Buddha's teaching? There's small differences, in the teachings of the Buddha, even in the Sarvakayana Sutras, because Buddha taught. He said again and again, also himself, that he teaches according to the need of the person or people that he is teaching to. He never said that whatever he is teaching here is the only teaching or only truth. He said that he teaches the way you need this. It's according to the need of the students, and therefore in this Sarvakayana Sutra, also in the Mahayana Sutra, also it is said that the Buddha taught many different paths and many different ways. 84,000 sometimes it is said, and whatever, many different. So therefore, if there is some differences in some explanation or some approach or some ways of meditation or things like that, or some methods, then that doesn't necessarily become not Buddha's teachings, because eventually, if you look from the whole kind of point of view, it is same. So therefore, if there is some disagreements or some things that are not similar, that doesn't make it prove that this is not the Buddha's teaching, because there are lots of similarities, and therefore they all should be. And anyway, all of these teachings, all of the teachings of the Buddha that is in the world now, the authentic teachings, are with these four seals. So the four seals, whatever is covered by these four seals, has to be and can be treated as the Buddha's teachings. Then it said, Mahakassapa himself and others could not sound the depths of such a teaching. Who will therefore say that they are to be rejected just because they are not grasped by you? But if you say that no, Mahakassapa did not think that the Mahayana sutras were not authentic teachings of the Buddha. Actually, the Mahakassapa, that was, the direct disciple of the Buddha, I don't think he ever said that Mahayana sutras are not the teachings of the Buddha. He didn't say that. But if somebody, in those who are holding the lineage, or those who are regarded as a scholar of Shravakayana, if they say that we don't understand these Mahayana teachings, we don't know, therefore it cannot be the teachings of the Buddha, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not the Buddha's teachings. Because for those who are suitable for the Shravakayana path, Buddha taught Shravakayana path, and it's a very good path. It's very sufficient for people who are of that kind. So therefore, there is nothing wrong with that. That's completely good. It's very authentic. It's very good. It has to be studied by all Buddhists, whether you are Mahayana followers or Shravakayana followers or Vajrayana followers or whatever. But that doesn't necessarily prove that other teachings, which is not Shravakayana, are not, Buddha's teachings. Because some scholars or some teachers didn't, fully grasp or fully understand or fully believe in those teachings. So these three stanzas, first I would like to read in Tibetan. actually this is not in Tibetan. In Tibetan, this is not at this point here. It is somewhere else. I think this is the one. Ngo kundo di lanju te kate sonji sondu na techen pache checho kundo do sondu manamche. Kate matu chiki na tamche shen no cheche na donzo chiki tamche na javi sonba chimayin. Ngo kong we son chenpo la su pi tingpo macharpa tene cheche matu pi zonja memba sishi se. I think that is the Tibetan. It is in a different place. It's not in the same. It's a little bit up and down, things like that. So now we come to the benefit of meditating on emptiness, and as we discussed, also the emptiness teaching is also not really different from what is taught in the Sarvakayana. In the Sarvakayana Sutras, it's taught selflessness. And selflessness is actually, if you go deeper, then that's emptiness. Usually in the Mahayana level, you talk about two kinds of selflessness: individual selflessness, or personal selflessness of the self, and the selflessness of the phenomena. Kanzaki Dhammi and Chuchi Dhammi. Selflessness of an individual or the person is what is taught very kind of clearly and deeply in the Sarvakayana Sutras. Selflessness of the phenomena is actually about emptiness. Very, if you go into detail. So therefore, it's not totally different, and it's not something that is contradictory. Now we come to stanza number 52. To linger and abide within samsara, freed from every craving and from every fear, in order to achieve the good of those who ignorantly suffer. Such is the fruit that emptiness will bear. What is saying? This I will first read in Tibetan also. Mombi dingal chendon de chotun jin tali tolwa. Kwa nipan rangerwan dana tonyin dime. So somebody who actually realizes the emptiness nature of things, then that person can have such a strong and great compassion towards all those who do not realize the emptiness nature of things, and therefore, suffer the ocean of sufferings in this ocean of samsara. They suffer the samsaric, all the sufferings. For them, that person who understands or who realizes suffering, the emptiness, can keep on working for those beings who did not understand or who did not realize that, because somebody who actually realizes the emptiness can become free from attachment and fear or aversion. And therefore, that person can continuously remain in the samsara or continuously work for the benefit of beings in samsara, and not afraid of samsara, because that person doesn't have, this person can go beyond, can actually be free from attachment and fear or aversion, without realizing the emptiness nature of oneself and all the phenomena. It is very difficult. Nobody can really remain. You cannot say remain, but nobody can continuously work for the benefit of other beings alone, because they cannot be without fear and attachment. So therefore, to be able to work continuously and without discouragement or without giving up, for the multitude of beings, to free them from from suffering and problems and difficulties. If there is somebody who has that ability, a bodhisattva who has that ability, is because that person, that bodhisattva, has some experience of emptiness, and through emptiness, understanding and realization, he could or she could be free from attachment and aversion or fear, and otherwise you couldn't do that. So therefore it is so important to practice and meditate the emptiness. Because only practice of or realization of emptiness will really be truly able to free oneself from two obscurations: the obscuration of the klesha and the obscuration of the knowledge, sometimes you call it, or the identification, or sometimes we talk about the habitual tendencies. So therefore it is said, so this is in English. I think there is also a little bit of different here. There's in 53, there is, therefore it is incorrect to find fault with this view of emptiness, and so with every doubt abandoned, we should meditate on it. Now this is, 54 is the Tibetan I read. Afflictive passion and while upon cognition, the cure for their obscuration is emptiness. How then shall they not meditate on this, who wish for swift attainment of omniscience? Yeah. Only understanding or recognizing or realizing emptiness nature of everything, yourself and others, and all the phenomena, we'd be able to, cure or get rid of true afflictions or true obscurations. That is afflictive passion or the klesha. And while upon cognition, shiji-dipa, not knowing the nature of things, that's the shiji-dipa, from the beginning, right from the subtlest way of knowing how things exist, cure for their obscurity is emptiness. Deeply and fully understanding emptiness is the only cure for both these obstacles and obscurations. So therefore, how then shall they not meditate on this? And even in the Sarvakayana, it is about that. The selflessness of the self is also to work on that. So therefore, who wish for swift, anybody who wants to have full enlightenment and quickly needs to practice and meditate and recognize and realize the emptiness. So this is the stanza number 54, and so I stop here. So thank you very much. See you next time. Thank you.